probably one of the most overlooked things when it comes to a four-wheel drive. You're spending all this money on suspension and wheels and tyres and all the rest of it, trying to get the best performance out of your vehicle. The one thing that's generally overlooked is the bushes. Welcome back to Loading Up. Today we're going to talk about probably one of the most overlooked things when it comes to a four-wheel drive, the suspension bushes. And I'm going to tell you firsthand a story on how we ended up with a relationship with Superpro. Now Superpro, if you've been into modifying cars, building cars from street cars to classic cars to four-wheel drives, you'll know that logo. Because when I was in my teens and I was into restoring old Valiants, which is what I did with most of my weekends, and that's where my boys get it from, this was a brand that I trusted and a brand that I knew. And one of the very, very first things I ever did when I bought an old Val was replace all of the bushes in it. Now, when it comes to four-wheel drives, this is the most overlooked thing in a four-wheel drive. And I'm going to explain a couple of things. I'm not going to go into the technical reasons behind why Superpro is what Superpro is. Not just the fact that they have the biggest range of bushes in Australia. I'd be very surprised, whatever you drive, if they don't have those parts in stock to suit your vehicle. But we've just launched, I think, a big revolution for the towables industry, which is Triamic suspension. And the Triamic suspension features in the ST7 and the ST5, and that came from the desire of wanting to push our trailers faster through rougher terrain to be able to keep up with the vehicles. I've said in other videos, remote reservoir shocks, 35, 37, 40-inch tyres now are becoming a thing. Cars are moving much, much faster across rough terrain, and the towables, I don't feel, have really kept up. And that was the core reason that we developed Triamic. Now, when we were going through the development phase of Triamic, it's a radius arm suspension, it's not a trailing arm, it's something that's very heavily influenced from the off-road industry. The biggest hurdle that we came up across was getting the geometry to stay within tolerance, within specification through the stroke. We've done a lot of testing in the early days. Where we landed was, and we used some generic bushes as we do when we're developing our products, we trial different things before we hone in on local suppliers. What we were finding is we were getting a lot of compression through the bushes. And we didn't really realise until we got into about Gen 2 or Gen 3 that it was the bush that was throwing the camber and the toe alignment out through the stroke, causing undue tyre wear, but predominantly causing the trailer to bump steer, and we couldn't get the bump steer out of it. So I'm giving away a secret here for Triamic, because I want everybody to understand the influence that a bush has on the characteristics of your suspension and how your suspension rides, how it travels through the stroke. When you've got a bolt going through, well, it's probably easier. This is a toe arm off the Triamic suspension. The bush in the front, you can see at the top here, we've got an eccentric bolt, and the eccentric bolt is what moves the toe arm in and out or up and down and gives it the wheel alignment that we're looking for to keep the wheels parallel, planted on the ground, all the way through the stroke. You can see here, you've got this massive diameter and you've got all of this surface area here that its job is, in some respect, to compress, yeah? When it compresses too much, as the trailer gets loaded and unloaded as it's going through its stroke, the bolt moves around inside of the bush. Same thing happens in your four-wheel drive. Now, Superpro, there's a lot of engineering that goes into this little piece right here. The makeup of the materials, like I said, I'm not going to go into, but even the geometry of this bush and things like even the way that they machine in the grease paths, how the grease works inside of the bush, keeps the noise reduction down, and obviously helps with the longevity of that bush. It's a polyurethane elastomer. I do know that. It's a makeup of plastic and rubber. And I suppose the only way to compare it is really to a recipe, you know. Superpro have been around for a very long period of time. They'll trial different things. They'll use new technology and new ingredients that are available to get the recipe, to get the perfect mix of the plastic and the rubber that makes up the bush. And they also offer on a lot of their products, I'm not sure if it's the entire range, but they offer a lifetime warranty. That's how much that they back that product. Now, as you can see, that there is multiple different, these are just some of the standard components that we use right throughout our range. But like I said at the start, there isn't a product I don't think that they probably make for your vehicle. And if you're spending all of this money on suspension and wheels and tyres and all the rest of it, trying to get the best performance out of your vehicle, the one thing that's generally overlooked and something that the manufacturers probably will look at as a cost down item is the bushes. So get into Superpro. If you've got an older vehicle and you're having issues with alignment or the way that it's driving or steering, I guarantee you can't go wrong by installing a brand new set of bushes. If you've got a newer vehicle, get into the Fulcrum store as well, because I can tell you firsthand from all the R&D that we've done the research, the bushes have made a massive impact on performance of the Patriot Camper's new Super Tourer range, and I guarantee they'll probably do the same thing for your vehicle as well. That's it. Quick one, it's Friday afternoon. I'm gonna finish loading up and I'm out of here. Oh. All right, this week, I'm loading up. I'm remembering how to juggle. Superpro, we'll see you there.